everyone, what's up? It's Kirk here again at Option Alpha. So it is Sunday, and I know I was supposed to do this live yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to because my daughter was sick, and so now they're sleeping, which is really good. So I am digging into all of their Halloween candy. Actually, it's not their Halloween candy, but it's candy that they're going to hand out. And so I've got lots of these little packages of nerds, which I really like and enjoy, so I'm digging into those. So what I want to talk about today, and this is something that I think, if I say hits home for me because I'm the type of person that I feel like it seems like I try to do a lot at the same time. And sometimes I run into a brick wall every single time, right? And so we'll talk about the 25,000 mile an hour lesson here in a second, but it seems like you run into a brick wall often. And I recently ran into this twice this year in a really hard way. Once during the middle of the year when we were trying to get all of our back testing and software out, it just seemed like nothing was going right. And it seemed like we just had like delay after delay and setback after setback and lots of bugs and stuff like that. And then just recently we've been running into this like literally today and yesterday with launching of the new like back end of the site, which the back end of the site is totally different than the front end. Front end won't change that much, but the back end kind of sets us up for doing more portfolio analysis software later on and kind of sets the stage for everything. And so for me, I think it's tough because sometimes you hit a brick wall and you don't know what to do, right? It seems like you need to do something, and sometimes you feel like I know my mom always said a cat on a marble floor where you're just like running around and not really doing anything. But I think there's a couple things that you could do. One is keep hammering away at it. So one thing that I've learned for sure is I don't know when that break comes, right? And I think people oftentimes, even in trading, have this feeling that they feel like they're just, doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing. They're having, making these trades, and they're not really making any progress, or they're making little progress, but you just have to keep hammering away because you don't know when your opportunity is going to come. You don't know what's going to be the trigger that is the catalyst for, projecting or propelling you forward, right, in the future. So when I think about even like Option Alpha, I've run Option Alpha for 10 years now, right? Like 10 years is a long time. Option Alpha wasn't as big as it is now, even 2 years ago, right? Like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, it was a very tiny site. Like, and nothing we did do any ads. We didn't have any press or publicity, but it just seems like we were hammering away at it for basically 7 years. And then all of a sudden, boom, overnight, we had, thousands of people inside the program. I haven't done anything different. We didn't hire any more people. We didn't produce any more content than we usually do. But it's just that hammering away. And at some point, that opportunity comes. You just don't know when it is. In that case, with Option Alpha, it was a 7-year overnight success, if you want to call it that, right? So I think the first thing is when you hit a brick wall, you just got to keep hammering through it. The second thing is the 25,000 mile an hour rule. So for those of you who are in aerospace, which I actually like space a lot, I'm very fond of space and learning about it, though I don't like to calculate things because I actually got a D in astronomy class in college, but it was a like fluff course, if you know what I mean. But it takes a rocket or anything exiting our orbit 25,000 miles an hour to break through the atmosphere, which is insane, right? So when you think about it, it takes an insane amount of effort to actually break through the atmosphere. But when you're through the atmosphere, a puff of air can send that ship on a whole different trajectory, right? A puff of air can send that on a whole different trajectory. And so you think about the amount of energy it takes just to get started and get launched. It's a lot, and that can be hard. So if you're hitting a brick wall, you feel like, oh my God, I'm doing all these things, Kirk. I'm just, I'm doing all these things, and it just feels like I'm not doing anything. Well, you're still at that 25,000 mile an hour rule where you got to expel a lot of energy before you get to the level you need to. And then at that point, it's going to be smooth sailing. In fact, I often talk about in the weekly webinar that I do with free members is that I often relate, I don't know if I can do this on here, but like options trading is this for education at first, and it goes up like this, and then it's just levels out, and it's nothing afterwards. Like you get it, and then it clicks, and you realize that trading takes almost no time, right? And very little energy or thought, like very little when it really comes down to it. But people get so wrapped up in it, this whole analysis paralysis around trading, that they expel so much energy at first, and then they realize 6 months afterwards or a year afterwards, however long it takes you to learn, that trading is really easy, right? There's just a lot of energy up front to learn the terminology, to learn the lingo, how the platforms work. Like all that stuff takes energy. So you have to put in an insane amount of energy at first, right? 25,000 mile an hour speed at first before you can, turn off the boosters and kind of cool and relax. But once you get there, it's very, very easy. In fact, just to kind of round this out, the only reason I'm still able to do this every single day and answer hundreds of emails every single day and do a daily podcast now, a weekly podcast, live trading videos, member calls, all this, do all of this stuff is because trading takes me no time, right? Like effectively no time, because I do it so often, I do it so much. It's very like second nature to me. I can go in and in 30 minutes, I know exactly what I'm looking for or not, right? And I don't have to do the analysis paralysis that maybe some of you are going through right now. And that's part of the system. That's just part of getting through it, right? But for me now, it's second nature. It's become habitual. It's a habit. And I don't think people are at that habit stage yet, which takes, sometimes 60 days to really form that habit. So once you get there, though, I think it's pretty easy. And I think you'll find that it's a lot more smooth sailing. So the lesson of the day is it takes 25,000 miles an hour to break through the atmosphere. So you have to put maybe 25,000 times the effort in upfront to do something you want to do and to build that habit. And once you do, then it should be on cruise control. It should be pretty easy after that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to dig into all of my favorite candy right now and make sure all these little trick-or-treaters have only the bad stuff left over. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.